All right, so it is time to talk about lightweight block ciphers, but of course, I will briefly explain what a block cipher is and why we need them, and then talk about lightweight versions. Then we will talk about in detail in some lightweight block ciphers, general standards like height, Clefaier, and present, which are ISO standards. At this side, we have only one lightweight standard, which is ASCON, which is just became a standard. We don't even have the final documentation yet, but it is not only a block cipher, but it is an authenticated encryption algorithm. So I will talk about it later, not in this part. First, we need to talk about authenticated encryption to talk about ASCO. Okay, so let's start. In the past, historical ciphers mostly operated on letters since they are pen and paper methods. When working with digital data, we can represent characters as strings of bits. That is the whole idea. Thus, the communicating parties must first agree on an encoding because a string of bits, you are going to represent characters with them. So first you have to need a table that tells you which character is represented with which bit. So this is why we have tables like encodings like ASCII and UTF-8. So ASCII is very famous. This is a sample picture of it, Since a byte is 8 bits here, 2 to the 8 is 256. So this is why you can represent that many characters. So this is why in the decimal notation, it starts from 0 and goes to until 255. So some of these characters are not printable on the screen, like here. But we can represent many characters. But of course, some Turkish characters are not here. So we use UTF-8 most of the time. But the thing is that we assume that communicating parties understand which bits, string of bits mean which character. So we are now focusing on not on the encoding, but at the bit level. And we will be talking about how we encrypt them and, So cryptography solves a lot of problems. We mentioned this. So at the confidentiality side, we have block ciphers, stream ciphers, public key encryption, and authenticated encryption. So we will be focusing these parts today. And not only block ciphers, but a specific side of them that is called lightweight block ciphers, okay? But then we will move on to hash functions and so on and so forth. So cryptographic algorithms sometimes do not use a key like hash functions, but encryption algorithms or other algorithms generally use keys. And we divide these keys algorithm into symmetric key and asymmetric key, or secret key and public key algorithms. And block ciphers are at the secret key part. So secret key algorithms use the same key material for both encryption and decryption, hence the name symmetric key cryptography. There are 3 types of algorithms in this category: block ciphers, stream ciphers, and message authentication codes. But block ciphers and stream ciphers are encryption primitives, while the message authentication code is used for data and data origin authentication. So in this two, you encrypt the data, obtain the ciphertext, and send it. In the message authentication code, you don't encrypt anything. You send the plaintext as a plaintext openly. But you also add something next to it, a small tag, which actually can be used to check if it is authentic or not. That is the idea. But these different types of algorithms are not completely unrelated to each other, because you can use a block cipher to build a stream cipher or a message authentication code or a hash function. So in order to understand a primitive completely, we actually need to understand other primitives too. Okay. At the asymmetric crypto side, we have many different algorithms like key exchange, public key encryption algorithms, digital signatures, etc. But our focus in this course mostly on this part, okay? So let's look at some basic definitions. A crypto system or a cipher is defined like this. So we have a plain text, and this is what you want to protect. So this can be a WhatsApp message, it can be a file on your computer, it can be my voice right now via Zoom. But we want to protect it, let's say, and actually Zoom is using AES-256 to encrypt my voice and video. So a crypto system or a cipher is a pair of algorithms that convert plain text to ciphertext and back. So A crypto system or a cipher is actually just algorithms, encryption and decryption. Okay. Ciphertext is the encrypted version of the plain text. Ciphertext should look like a random sequence. This is the whole idea, because we don't trust the communication channel. We encrypt our plain text, obtain the ciphertext, and send it through this unsecured communication channel, but the person who receives it can decrypt it back. And in the symmetric crypto system part, we have a secret key. And this is the only thing that is secret, by the way. We want all of the algorithm specifications, all of the parameters to be public, but we use the secret key to encrypt. So we should share the secret key with the person we want to communicate, so they also use the same key to decrypt it. Okay, so this is the whole idea. At the block cipher side, we are going to encrypt some plain text, but the length of the data is variable, right? The thing you want to encrypt can be as small as a few bits. It can be as large as a few terabytes. So I need an algorithm that can process all of them. So in order to design a complex algorithm for this, it is easier to focus on fixed bits blocks to encrypt. So this is why in block ciphers, the input size is fixed as B blocks. Okay. So when you have for instance, a 1 gigabyte of file, you will divide it into B bits of blocks and then perform operations on all of these blocks. So plain text is divided into B bit blocks. Each block is encrypted by a K bit secret key to produce B bit output. Output blocks form the ciphertext, but how you form it is important, and what we call mode of operation is this. A simple way to do it, independently encrypt each plain text block with the same secret key, obtain ciphertext block, then concatenate them to each other. This is the easiest thing you can do. The first thing that comes to our mind is this, but this is the worst thing you can do. We can break the system if you do this, okay? So this is why next time we will talk about mode of operations, and we will talk about how we can securely encrypt a data that is larger than B bits, okay? So a block cipher and the chosen key is actually a permutation from 2 to the B elements to the 2 to the B elements. Nowadays, we choose B, the block size equals to 64 bits or 128 bits, but we have some lightweight ciphers which actually use 32 bits. Okay. As the key size, we recommend at least 128 bits, but if you want military grade security, you should be using 256 bits as the secret key. But if I want to design something lightweight, then even storing a 256-bit key, you need to use some registers for them, right? A smaller will be easier, and it will be more lightweight. But if you choose your secret key really small, like 64 bits, then actually it can be broken. Nowadays, we have standards, IOS standards, which allow you to use 80-bit secret keys, but actually we don't trust them. People say that it will give you short-term security, but actually how short it is not defined, right? So it is dangerous to use it. So we never recommend anything less than 128 bits. Nowadays, of course, this allows you to use 112 bits, but there's no need to live at the edge, right? So, and we will talk about how we can actually break algorithms that have short keys, okay? So having 80 bits secret keys actually is not a good idea and can be broken. Okay, yeah, as I mentioned, this is just a permutation from 2 to the B elements to the 2 to the B elements. And there are actually many permutations because there are 2 to the B factorial permutations. So, 2 to the 2 to the B here is really large number. So there's a huge number of permutations. But when you design a block cipher and choose a secret key, you are actually choosing very small part of these permutations, right? Whereas if your key is k-bit, you actually have 2 to the k permutations, which is a very small number compared to this. Yeah, a block cipher will provide only a tiny fraction of all these available permutations for typical values of B and K, namely 2 to the K. For security for any chosen key, we expect a good block cipher to act like as if it is a randomly selected permutation. So the security actually comes from here. So for every key, it should look like a randomly chosen permutation. Even more, we expect no relation between permutations that are obtained by keys that are related somehow. So imagine like this, you have a secret key, so you use it for a long time to encryption, then you simply change one bit of the secret key and now use it. So the results actually should have no correlation between, although the keys are really similar, the encryption results should be completely different. All right, so when designing a block cipher, there are three common methods: face-down networks, substitution permutation networks, and sponge functions or permutation-based designs. And the cipher mostly consists of the repetition of a round R time. So instead of designing a complex algorithm, we design a round which is easier to analyze and checks its properties, then repeat it R times. Okay. Also, we have a secret key, but at each round we want to use some key material. So instead of using the key directly, which you can do, we prefer to have a key schedule algorithm. So a key schedule algorithm is used that generates round keys from the secret key. Right. So with this basic introduction, let's focus on designs. So in the literature, as we mentioned before, the industry needed lightweight designs for a long time, but at the academic side, we came like 5 or 10 years late. So there is a gap between these two things. So this is why some disasters happened. But nowadays, we have many lightweight designs. So in the past, around 2007, some lightweight designs were introduced and they became ISO standards. But these designs mostly focused on low hardware footprint. So algorithms like present, height, and Calaphia focuses on low hardware footprint. Okay, so the area it covers should be small because this way it will be cheaper to produce, right? And it will consume less energy and so on. But then people realize that low hardware footprint is not the only thing we need from a lightweight cipher. And some people designed algorithms for low memory consumption or small embedded processors like I2B, Pride, and Spec. Then people focused on low latency. Prince is a good example for that. And some people said that we need side channel protection, right? Instead of designing the algorithm first, then trying to come up with side channel protection then will, cause us some performance loss. So let's keep that idea at the design phase. So let's design algorithms that have side channel protection from the design phase. So Zora and LS designs are good examples for this. So as you can see, your target might be different. So having an algorithm that provides all of them is not easy. And actually you cannot have a one size fits all solution. So this is why it was hard to choose a standard by NIST. So initially people insisted that NIST should choose more than one standard because not every algorithm will be suitable for every situation. But industry said needs to choose only a single winner of the competition because if NIST chooses two winners, industry has to implement both of them. But if you implement two algorithms that are similar, then this will be against the idea of lightweight, right? Because you want to build something cheaper, but you are putting redundant algorithms there. So industry wanted one winner. Of course, academicians prefer to have more than one winner because if you're competing in the competition, this increases your chances of winning, right? But anyway, at the end, this February, 2023, NIST chose ASCON as the NIST standard. So NIST only has one standard, but at the IOC side, there are many standards. So let's talk about these designs. Face-style designs consist of two operations, a round function and the swap operation. So the bboot input is divided into two halves. Round function is applied to one half, and the output XOR to the other half. Then the places of these halves are swapped. Key method is generally used inside the round function. So here, let me show you a picture. So you have the key. You put it in the key schedule. For every round, it produces a round key. and the plain text block divided into two parts, left and right. Actually, right part goes unaffected and becomes the left part in the next round. But right part also is fed into run function. Here you perform operations like key addition, a confusion layer, and a diffusion layer. Then the result is XOR to left part, and this left part becomes the right part in the next round. So this way you go. So this is a good example for this, designed by IBM in the 1970s, based on earlier design, like the algorithm name was Lucifer. In 1976, NSA tweaked the algorithm by changing it S boxes, then it became a standard. The block size is 64 bits, key length is 56 bits, and runs are 16 bits, okay? So currently known as data encryption algorithm, since it is no longer standard, became useless after 1990 since its short key is susceptible to brute force attacks. So the picture of this is as follows. So this is an example for a face-style cipher. Of course, this is not a lightweight design. I'm just trying to show you how the face-style ciphers look. Then we will talk about height and Clayphia, which are generalized face-style ciphers. So you have the key, and here you have a key schedule algorithm, which consists of permutations and just rotations. And from your key, you produce round keys here, okay? And your round consists of some operations here. So the right part here comes and fed into this round function. And that round function is like this. You take this 32 bits, duplicate some of the bits to obtain 48 bits, XOR it with your round key, then feed this 48 bits to 8 S boxes. But these S boxes has 6-bit input, but 4-bit output. So your output now reduced to 32 bits. Apply another permutation, then XOR it with the left box. So this is how this algorithm is designed. So the basic example for a face-style design.